Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. Our focus has been on the performing arts as the United Performing Arts Fund prepares to kick off their 2018 campaign March 5th through June 13th. My next guest is Cortney McEniry. She's the Director of Community Engagement at the Milwaukee Repertory Theater, which is in its 63rd season. The Rep ignites change in the cultural, social, and economic vitality of this community by creating world-class theater experiences, and we're also being joined by Mr. Rodney Bourrage, who is the founder and ambassador of Operation Dream. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you both for being here. And Cortney, it was just a few weeks ago that I had the talented actresses from Black Pearl Sings here, and I know our viewers probably were wowed by that. That's still showing now through March 18th at the Stackner Cabaret, but coming up on March 13th through April 22nd, the Rep has the stage production Until the Flood, and this is a new play that's ripped straight from the headlines. Tell us more about that.
Yes, so Dale Orlando Smith is one of our country's leading playwrights. She's incredibly talented and was commissioned by St. Louis Repertory Theater to create a play in response to the Michael Brown shooting in 2014. What they wanted was an opportunity to have a dialogue with their audience members about what had happened. There was this sense of Ferguson fatigue, this idea that everyone had a very similar idea of what Ferguson was, and there was only one narrative being told about that part of the county, and they wanted to change that. So Dale went into Ferguson, interviewed over 100 different people, got their perspectives and their different ideas of what had happened, but also how the community was coming together afterwards. And using all of those interviews, she created 8 sort of composite characters. So it's not a documentary play, but it's based on her experiences meeting many, many different people in Ferguson. And she performs all 8 of those characters in this performance. And she is just an unbelievably strong performer. When you're in the space with her, you can't look away.
You're in awe, yeah. And to be able to play 8 different characters, that's given a whole new meaning to one woman show, right? Well, this is all very exciting and interesting, to say the least, especially when you look at the headlines that have taken place right here in our community. We had the unfortunate shooting of Dontre Hamilton by a then Milwaukee police officer, and then of course there was the unrest in Sherman Park. So it's like people who are going to see this production will be able to relate. And then you've brought in a different aspect that's a part of what you call Act 2, where you have people from the community who are going to give dialogue after they see this production. That's where Rodney comes in, and he is going to be representing his organization, Operation Dream. How do you feel about the Milwaukee Rep calling you and asking you to talk about your thoughts and feelings based on not only what you do for a living, but probably your life as a Black man in America?
Yeah, very thrilled, honored to be chosen. I'm looking forward to the play. She's a phenomenal woman. She came and we met her at the City Hall last fall, and to do so many characters at once, and then for us to be able to react afterward and interact with the audience, it's going to be a great opportunity for me.
Yeah, and I definitely want to hear more about Operation Dream, but I wanted to mention that after each performance for the duration of this play, you're going to have a different person from the community to do exactly what Rodney is going to be doing, which is on March 30th.
Yes.
But you've got just a few names: District Attorney, Milwaukee County District Attorney John Chisholm, Vincent Lyles, who's from the Boys and Girls Club, David Muhammad from the Office of Violence Prevention, Milwaukee Chapter NAACP President Fred Royal, State Senator Lena Taylor, and Nate Hamilton, just to name a few. And I'll tell you what's awesome about that. They all have been on this show. So really, and I say that because I know that they all have something different and major to bring to the conversation. So with no further ado, tell us more about Operation Dream and what you do.
Yes, Operation Dream is a boys mentoring program for boys school age, kindergarten 4 years old through high school. So we work with boys, teenagers, all the way through high school. What we do is we meet with them every Saturday as a group, and we go through life skills, cultural awareness, academic enrichment, and they have choice time to shoot pool and play table tennis and play basketball and have a good time. So we feed the children, we pick them up through 18 different zip codes in Milwaukee. Wow. We have buses and vans, and we have a transportation company that we outsource. And we just try to get the boys and we try to work with them and be good role models and give them some advocacy. We definitely have a very strong work training program called Operation Work, where we have 66 teenagers in our work training program. With that, they get a member support coach who's a 24/7, 365 days a year person that's like a life coach, and he works with the boys, picks them up, takes them places, help them get employment, manages that relationship between the employer and employee, and just gives them a hands up.
Yeah, this is awesome stuff. And you know, there's these hidden jewels in the community, and these organizations that are doing outstanding things, and it's always a pleasure to be able to give you a platform to make sure people know that you're out there. And if there's somebody that's watching and wants to get their young man involved, what's the age range again?
So it's kindergarten, 4 years old, through high school.
Okay, so
we take
big
them
range.
Yes, well, we take boys in all the way through 8th grade, and then we work with them through high school.
Okay.
So we get them in the 7th and 8th grade. They're able to apply for the work training program, and then we work with them all the way through. So we have our website. They can sign up. Otherwise, they can actually they can call us.
Okay. And the phone number that they can call is 414-226-5305.
Yes.
All right. Cortney, talk about the importance of this dialogue that's going to be in your Act 2, and why it was important to bring Rodney to talk about Operation Dream.
Yeah, so Act 2 has kind of two parts to it. We have our community responder part, which Rodney is going to be a part of, yes. And then afterwards we partner with the Zeidler Center for Public Discussion the Zeidler Center for Public Dialogue to the audience moves into small groups, and they enter facilitated dialogue circles so that they can relate their own experiences to what they've seen in the play. And the importance of the community responders is that they provide an opportunity for the audience to connect what's going on stage to what's happening in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And they really focus the dialogue, yes, for the audience members in a super meaningful way. We also really recognize the responsibility we have as a performing arts organization that has thousands of audience members come through. We've had over 10,000 people participate in the Act 2 dialogues over the last 2 years. So we know that we have a responsibility to amplify the good work that's happening in the city. And these responders, we have 49 different responders coming. Each one of them has an audience, a captive audience for 5 minutes to tell them about the good work they're doing here. So we have an asset-based approach to community engagement. We want to show everyone the incredible assets we have in our city. Yeah. And so places like Operation Dream are a huge part of that.
Yes, and the thing is this is really a great example of how, when we talk about the arts and the impact that it can have, the positive impact that it can have on a city and the people that live there, because sometimes people think, oh, they're singing a song, they're acting, or whatever, and that's it, you go home. But really, if you dig deeper and you really take part in all of these different things that are being offered, you'll see there's so much more, and this is why it's so important to support the arts and really embrace what's happening here in our city. So yes, thank you both for sharing that. Quickly, I wanted you to tell us about Impact, because sure, that's another community engagement aspect of what you do at the Rep.
Sure. So all of our community engagement programs are funded by the Impact Fund and are part of our Impact Initiative, which is basically that part of the mission that you mentioned of the Rep to ignite positive change in our community. And part of the Impact Initiative is that we have a community advisory council called the Impact Council, and we have representatives from each of our 11 pillar partner organizations, including the Boys and Girls Club, COA Family Centers, the YWCA, and each of our Impact Council members really help us to consider what's actually happening in the community and how can the things happening on our stages amplify those things or connect to those things or help our audience members dig deeper and our neighbors dig deeper into those issues and topics. And so they actually are the people who recommended our responders to us and told us who's doing incredible work in the city, and they kind of help guide our programming.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I just named maybe like 5 or 6 names, but there's a long list of responders that you have pulled from around Milwaukee and surrounding areas to really give people a look at what is taking place, as you've said. So people can go to your website and kind of take a look at that list, and really that might determine the day that they want to go see the play on who they want to hear from, right?
Yeah, we hope so. We hope that you will come and support the leaders in this community that you're excited about. So
your website address is?
It's MilwaukeeRep.com. Okay. And if you specifically want to know about Act 2 or the Neighbor series, which Act 2 is a part of, you can go to MilwaukeeRep.com/MKE Neighbors.
Okay, and we'll talk about that Neighbor series in just a second, but I wanted to get Rodney to tell us a little bit more. We're coming up on the summer months, slowly but surely.
Yes, yes.
And through Operation Dream, you do summer visits with the young men that's mentored at your organization, and also you go around the state and tour area companies and employers and things of that nature. So that's a different way of inspiring these young people as well.
Yes, we go to different businesses and we do tours. We do large tours with 20 plus members, and we also do two member tours where we have their life coach, their member support coach come, and we go and do white collar type jobs where they visit the vice president or the HR director, and they visit the owners of a lot of companies, and it's our entrepreneurship part of the project of the program. So a lot of the boys get out in the community and get to places that they wouldn't normally go to, and meet, you know, CEOs and entrepreneurs. Okay,
so if someone, and I'm asking you this again because if I were watching and I had a young man, I would be like, where do I get these young people involved in this? Is it just a phone call and then they fill out paperwork? What are the
steps? So we're a nonprofit. So like any nonprofit, you have to raise funds. So we have limited resources. So we try to get all the boys that we can get in the program. Last year, we served over 300 boys, and we had 66 boys. We have 66 boys in our Operation Work program.
That's awesome.
So if we don't have enough room for that grade level, we'll put them on the waiting list, and as soon as the slot opens, we'll call them up. So we have to fundraise and get enough money, you know, in order to be able to handle it. But we're definitely going to get all the boys we can, and we're fighting against the streets all the time. We want them to have positive activities and positive role models, and we are there for the boys.
Absolutely, and with every nonprofit, you're always, like you said, looking for ways to continue your programming to serve the community. So if someone's looking for an organization to donate to, tax deductible, right?
Yes, we're there. We're the one.
Yes, that's good to know. And as we prepare to wrap up, Cortney, I wanted you to tell us about the Neighbor series because I thought this was very interesting as well.
Sure. So we're doing 3 plays this spring that all really ask the question, what does it mean to be a good neighbor? We've got One House Over, which is opening pretty shortly, and then we've got Until the Flood and Our Town. And so around these 3 plays, we have over 80 events, community engagement events that are sort of asking that question of what does it mean to be a good neighbor and inviting dialogue around that. So Act 2 is a huge part of that. We also have panel discussions going on around One House Over, and we have our community dinners, which is where we invite audience members to break bread with one another and have a facilitated dialogue at a local restaurant, a locally owned restaurant in the city. And so those are just some of the ways that you can get involved. But as I said, you can find out a lot more on MilwaukeeRep.com/MKE Neighbors.
Yeah, this is all good stuff. So it just really warms my heart to be able to bring the two of you together to kind of give an example of how the performing arts world is reaching into the community and really working to evoke thought, not only with the productions that they're putting on, but really just to make that connection and make positive changes where they can. So I thank you both for coming by and sharing all the great information. Until the Flood is going to definitely be the next one on my list. I loved Black Pearl Sings, and I mean, it should be Black Pearl Sangs because, man, she can really sing. So thank you all so much for coming by.
Well, thank you.
All righty. Cortney McEniry, she is the Director of Community Engagement at the Milwaukee Repertory Theater, and Rodney Bourrage, he's the founder and ambassador of Operation Dream. He'll be a part of the community engagement discussions tied into the stage production Until the Flood, again playing at the Milwaukee Rep March 13th through April 22nd. For more information on anything we've discussed, you can visit their website at milwaukeerep.com or call 224-9490 for ticket information. That's going to do it for today's show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues, Milwaukee. Have a great day.